Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you see my last video, I pretty much talked about PBD and his outtake when it comes to the Israeli and the Palestinian, the Israeli and the Iranian situation. PBD is somebody that hasn't really spent a lot of time in Iran. I'm somebody who hasn't spent a lot of time in Africa. We pretty much spend the same amount of time in our birthland. I was only in Africa for 10 years. PBD was there for what? I think he said 11 years. If you were to ask me about the politics and the situations in Africa, I wouldn't be able to give you much information. I'm not going to lie to you. I would not be able to tell you that, oh, Africa is this and Africa is that. And so when it comes to PBD, he is somebody that if he has an opinion on Iran, if he says that I'm somebody who's from Iran and I know the situation of Iran, what I would tell you is don't take anything he says serious, because somebody who's been in a land that was born there and was only there for 11 years and then he left, let's be honest. For the first 8 to 9 years of your life, you had no clue what the heck was going on because you were a kid and you were busy having fun with your friends. You don't understand politics. You don't know how things are run. You're just busy trying to enjoy your childhood. And even when you make it to the age of 11, still, you don't really care what's going on. So your opinion about that land, it doesn't mean shit. So the fact that PBD came out and said that Iran is the biggest warmonger in the Middle East, I mean, I'm like, dude, you are full of it. Anyway, that's enough dialogue. I'm just going to go ahead and let Mr. Mohammed Hijab here answer the whole entire question for you. And if you want to watch the entire interview, it's going to be under the Dean Show, which is Dean Show. This is the entire interview right here.
Finsbury Park, where hundreds of Muslims are in the streets, and he's calling for war and calling for jihad. No one was stopping him.
Mohammed Hijab?
No, not Mohammed Hijab. Abu Hamza with the hook. He's a terrorist with a hook. But back when this was going on...
Why do you think when Stephen Lexon, when he's bringing up and he's describing somebody with a hook, why do you think Patrick, he went on automatic mode and he just brought you up out of all people?
He's got me in his mind. He's got me in his mind. I think the refutations that we do together and that we're going to continue doing about Patrick Bet-David, and they're going to get worse for him because we've given him a chance. We've spoken to him privately. We've been very respectful to him. But he's continually perpetuating stereotypes, generalizations, and misinformation about Islam and Muslim people. Recently, I saw a clip of his on Twitter where he was making these absurd and humiliating claims with such confidence. And if we can pull that video up, can we pull that video up of him saying what he said? And then I'll come back and respond in kind. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable what he said. Let's take a look at what he said.
The person who was born in Iran, yes, I can't stand this regime. Yes, they've called, the only thing that's been persistent and consistent is the following. When the Shah...
Before you continue, let me go ahead and make one thing clear to you guys. I'm not an Iranian. I'm not an Iranian supporter or anything like that. But what I am saying is you got to be logical. Somebody who's a kid, hasn't even reached the age of puberty, who lived in a land. Are you really going to take your geographical, your geopolitics from this person? You're not. Let's be honest. You're not. And we understand something. This guy, he does not like to talk about the other side. He doesn't like to talk about the real perpetrator. And so, now that you know the fact that he doesn't like to talk about the people who attacked Iran, do you honestly think that he's going to give you information that is actually worthy of listening to? Let's be honest. He's one-sided. Anybody who's one-sided should not be taken serious.
I was in Iran. Did Israel already exist?
Yes.
Yes or no? Mm-hmm. Was Israel causing chaos? Was there war in the Middle East? Let me say this one more time. When Iran was ran by the Shah, what year was the Shah of Iran? What years did he run Iran?
53 through 79, I think.
Okay, 53 is the oil consortium, so 54 is the oil consortium. 41 to 79.
Oh, wow.
Because he started at 21 years old, young man, right? 41 to 79. When did Israel become a nation?
48.
Yeah. Okay, so check this out. Why is it that between 48 to 79, while the Shah was the king of Iran, running Iran, why is it for 31 years there is no major war in the Middle East? Why is that? So to the people that want to say it's all Israel's fault, how come there wasn't that in Iran for 31 years? I'm curious. Answer that question for me. And why is it from 79, when the mullahs, the Hezbollahs, the IRGC, all these guys, the Khomeinis, all of them took over, why has there been chaos in the Middle East since 79? Whose fault is that? America's been consistent. Yes, I know America wanted the oil from Iran, and yes, I know UK wanted it, and MI6 and CIA and all this stuff. And yes, I also am aware that the Shah didn't trust Israel. The Shah didn't trust, what they were doing with media and finance and the ambition and the level and the control and the influence and all that stuff. He knew what was going on there. He wanted to compete with them. He didn't see himself as a victim. He's like, we're going to be doing the same thing. And I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's too ambitious and he thinks he can go up against all of us. Let's take this guy out. We need chaos in the Middle East. Oh, shit. Even Israel being involved, let's just say for Iran and the Shah fallen, there is chaos now in the Middle East. On who, though? Who did that? So, yeah, for me, the most consistent thing behind the chaos in the Middle East has been Iran. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, so I just want to say, because he said, someone answer that question for me. I'm going to answer that question directly, and I think this is a humiliating and embarrassing blunder of tremendous proportions, the like of which Mr. Bet David should come out and apologize and retract and rescind his comment. Because he said, what major war was there between 1941 and 1979 in the Middle East? Not realizing that the most major wars were in that exact time period. The 1948 war, upon the inception of Israel itself, was a war between Israel and Arab countries surrounding it. In 1956, there was the Suez Canal crisis. In 1966-67, there was the Six-Day War. In 1973, there was the Yom Kippur War. So this guy is so academically and historically illiterate that he actually chose the time where there was probably the most wars, and he's challenging us to give him, the reason why there was no war in this period of time. I know you're watching this, Bet David, because you watch us, you love watching our content. I'm sorry to say, you are academically illiterate. You are completely uneducated on these matters. You should not speak about history. You should not speak about politics. You should not speak about religion. And what happens is, when you, as an ignoramus, with all due respect, bring on another ignoramus, another ignorant person, then what you have as a result, when you have Tommy Robinson there, is compounded ignorance. You're saying ignorant things, he's saying ignorant things. There's no academic to check you, there's nobody to check you, because you always surround yourself with ultra-crepidarians, with obsequious individuals, with ignorant individuals, with ignoble individuals, with individuals with agendas, with individuals with no formal education. At least when Joe Rogan does his podcasts, which your podcast will never reach his podcast level, is he brings specialists. He brings people that he can ask questions, scientists. He brings, people that are actually specialists in areas, and they can give him the cutting edge research. And he stays there quietly whilst they give him the information. Whereas you, on your own show, come and speak about these matters as if you are some kind of an authority. And in fact, you're making such huge blunders that it beggars belief that there is such ignorance in your studio that not one person from the editorial team, from the panel, or from the comments, or from anybody could correct you on one of the most glaring and obvious, painfully obvious mistakes of a historical kind that anybody can make about your own nation. Which is you're from Iran and its surrounding countries. You should be ashamed of yourself. You need to stop talking and start listening. You should start reading, because having money, and I want to make this very clear, there's lots of people nowadays become businessmen and get money from Ponzi schemes or whatever it may be. I don't know how you made your money, Patrick, and I don't care. Having money and having knowledge are two separate things. Having money doesn't mean that you have intelligence and knowledge. You cannot buy intelligence. You can buy books, you can buy courses, but you cannot buy intelligence. You should know your limits. You should know that you've spent your time raising money or doing this or doing that or doing business. Don't get involved in academic discussions. It will save you the humiliation of someone like me in London, who I'm meant to be this ruffian, this uncouth in London, that Tommy Robinson, he's describing the Muslim community. And he's trying to paint us out in this way to you. I'm meant to be like that, but I'm checking you in such a way that not even your most ardent supporters can defend you, because you are wrong. You are making a case that Israel is not the most, damaging and destructive and belligerent and transgressive actor in the Middle East by trying to find a time pre-Iranian Revolution in 79, whereby there was not these things that you're mentioning, but there was all of those things that you're mentioning. This is such an embarrassment. If I were you, I wouldn't be able to sleep from the embarrassment. I would not be able to sleep. I would look at myself in the mirror and just turn away. Wallahi, I would. It's so embarrassing. If I could somehow, using the millions I have, if I were you, I don't have millions myself, but if I were you, remove those videos where I'm talking rubbish and bringing ignoramuses, I would do it, because to spare myself the humiliation, the intellectual and academic humiliation of this. This is what happens when you have an agenda and you're a Shah supporter above everything else, and you're a nationalist above everything else, and so on and so forth. And you want to make a case, but you can't even make it because your brain cells can't aid you and help you. Patrick Bet-David, come out and apologize. Come out and retract. Come out and rescind. Come out and correct. Come out and clarify. You should now say, I have a new policy on my show. My policy is I'm going to have at least one academic. When we speak about sensitive issues, when we speak about big issues, I'm going to have at least, you don't have to have a Muslim academic when you're talking about Islam. You can have a non-Muslim academic of Islam. Bring the standards of your little crummy show up. Bring the standards of your show up. Do you understand me? Bring it up. You are contributing to the proliferation of ignorance in your country. You are contributing to ignoramuses and chavs and hillbillies and rednecks not knowing where countries are on the map and this, that, and the other, and historical timelines having it all messed up. You are contributing to global ignorance. It's not about Islam or ideology or narrative. It's about academic credibility. You're missing that. You're lacking that. I would say, based on just that clip here, you should retire. You should say, I'm taking some time off a PBD podcast, this and that. I'm just going to do business. There's going to be a new guy that's going to be running this show, and they have you or me doing it. Because they need some professionals. They need some professionals, for God's sake. We'll take the show, PBD show, to another level. We'll do something good with it. You have this ignoramus with him all the time called Adam. What has he done? What has he done? These guys, I'm going to put it because people don't know. Eddie is a high-level black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. People don't know this. I remember going to Chicago a long time ago, and he was showing me some things. I was thinking, my God, this guy this guy is not what he seems. But let me put it in BJJ terms. These guys are not even white belts. Forget about it. They haven't even put on the gi. These guys are the most low-level. Okay, you're bringing people, and then they're speaking as if they're like, Roger Gracie or Gordon Ryan. You're nothing. You honestly have done, you're not proven. Stop speaking about these matters. You're nothing. Yeah? Understand you're nothing. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. It's time to humble yourself. That's it. And this is the problem. Forget about narrative and this and that. They need to humble themselves. That's what it comes down to. Because when you don't humble yourself, we're going to catch you as we have. We're going to catch you on your mistakes. And we're going to expose your mistakes. And your supporters will say, they'll tip your hat. They'll tip their hat to us. They'll tip their hat. And they'll say, yes, he's right. They'll say, even though we disagree with him on ideology, he's right. You're ignorant. You should not be representing our interests. That's what they're going to say. Hey, you.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I wanted to just let the whole thing play out because, I'm sure you understood exactly what was going on. If you want to see my response to this whole thing, I made a video about it, and so that's why I didn't have much to say. But yeah, Mohammed Hijab is definitely not wrong when he says that money doesn't mean that you're smart. But rather, what money does is it clouds your judgment, and that's what we've seen right now. PBD is somebody who has made his money off of scamming people, for one. Two, he doesn't like to talk bad about the Israelis because he understands that talking bad about these people means that it's a career suicide. He understands that. He knows that. Anybody who is in the commentary business when it comes to politics and geopolitics, they understand that the real ballers, the people who actually pays, you shouldn't talk bad about them. And so he is contributing to the ignorance of the society. He is contributing to making people dumber about the whole situation. I'm not as smart as PBD. I'm not as rich as PBD. And I'm not as famous as PBD. But me as a layman understands that Iran is not the most warmongering country in the Middle East. I understand that. Because I can name you a list of countries that have been toppled. And it is done. As PBD would do. And it is done by a single state. Now you may say, well, how is it done by a single state? Let's be honest. They control America. They decide who America is going to attack and who America is not going to attack. I'm going to be honest with you. They understand that. This nation, this state has been trying to drag America into a war with Iran for decades. Fast forward into 2025, all of a sudden, guess what? America is getting ready to go to war with who? Iran. Isn't it crazy how if America was truly the friend of Israel, what they would do, and if America was not being controlled, what they would do is they would say, hey, we're going to stand by. If any country tried to attack you, we will stop them. But rather, what do we see? It's the other way. The greatest ally in the Middle East is the one that's actually attacking people, and then America steps in and say, okay, we're going to protect you if anybody tries to hit you. America is the daddy of this whole situation. America is a rich uncle that is just constantly pouring money on his spoiled child. That's all America is. And the child does whatever the hell they want to do. And whenever the child gets spanked by somebody else, America steps in and say, hey, don't touch my child. Even though the child is a spoiled brat who does whatever he wants to do. Anyways, I just wanted to go ahead and share that little clip with you guys, man. If you want to watch the whole thing, like I said at the beginning, just go to the Dean Show. You can watch the whole entire interview over there. And I will also leave the link to Mohammed Hijab's page if you want to, if you made it this far, then there's no need for you to go to Mohammed Hijab and watch the whole clip for yourself anymore. But anyways, if you did make it this far, do me a favor. Leave a like and subscribe. Right? It's not going to hurt.